Hello and welcome all, friends and foes alike, to the Matt Powers Show podcast. Our show about entertainment, about TV, movies, video games, comic books, music, sports, if we get around to it. About all sorts of things. Things that entertain us. I am your titular host, Matt Powers, former superhero, comic book star extraordinaire, and current elder millennial. So what do I do? What is an elder millennial to do? Oh, I'll podcast. That's what we all do. This is my podcast. Yes, I am a fictional character. I'm not real. I'm an AI somewhere on the internet you don't know. That's not true. It's fun to think about. Guys, welcome today. This is a great... I really enjoy doing this podcast. Let me tell you what we're doing here. If you're new to this podcast, what we're doing is I'm instead of me talking about a topic, trying to prove a point or to say this is the way to do something, this is just a discussion. I'm just talking here. Usually it's about something that I've seen or heard or thought about, and I'm just like, I kind of want to talk about this. Instead of picking up the phone and calling a friend, I'm just shouting out to the internet and saying it to you. If you're listening to this at any point in time, you are the person I'm talking to. And we're having a conversation. I love my own voice, so we're having a conversation of whatever the idea is. And what I'm hoping is first off, entertainment is subjective, right? Everyone's got their own opinions, and everyone's kind of right, because it's from your perspective. Nobody's wrong. No one's opinion is better than another, right? We all think we know what the best Star Wars movie is, but your favorite might not be my favorite. That doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It just means we have different favorites. And, it's all about what we love. It's just about being a fan. That's what the discussion's about, is about being a fan. Things we love and extolling the virtues of those. So that's what this podcast is for. If you're a returning fan, if you've listened to this podcast before, you know all that. And hopefully, you've enjoyed what you've heard from me. I tend to have some unique opinions, ideas that are maybe other people don't have. So I one of the reasons I do this is because I want others to hear those opinions. Maybe you've never seen your favorite show in the same light as I'm going to talk about. Maybe I explain something and I go, well, this is how I see it. And you go, wow, I never thought of it that way. That's pretty cool. Could be. That's really what I hope. That's what I hope this discussion does. Is it gets you to think about why you love the thing you love, and maybe see it from a different perspective, or not. That's okay. Either way is okay. But today I have a bug up my butt about something I want to talk about. Actually, for years I've had this idea about print comics. Okay, so today specifically we're going to talk about Marvel and DC, the big two companies. You could talk about Image as well, but they're not really. Other companies don't do a connected universe the way Marvel and DC do. So we're really just talking about Marvel and DC. Also, Marvel and DC are owned by parent companies that have more money to spend than God knows what to do with, right? So it doesn't matter if they're making money on comic books. That's not the reason they publish comic books. They publish comic books so they get to be the first people to tell the stories, and then they can use those stories in the movies and shows where they make all their money. So, and maybe I'm right. There's plenty of people out there who run comic book stores who don't want to disagree with me, and that's fine. There's lots of people probably working for those companies that want to disagree with me. That's fine. This is simply my opinion on the industry, but I don't believe Marvel cares a lick about making a single penny off of their comic books anymore. I think as long as they're creating in a test tube, basically, they're creating ideas for stories that they can use for other media, then they're happy. Because that's what Disney wants. Disney wants Disney Plus. They don't care about print comics. Nobody buys magazines anymore. Nobody cares about print comics. Not really. I mean, you do. If you're a fan, you love it. But no, it's not profitable for the big companies. I don't think. Feel free to correct me on that, by all means. But please, if you do, cite some statistics. Show me how much money they're making on their comics. Show me that they're making a profit, and show me how that profit is worth the profit they're making. So, until then, we're just going to say, I don't think Marvel and DC make money off of their comics. They make money off of their movies, their shows, their video games, and all that jazz. And I think that's why they make comics. But regardless of what I think, again, opinions that you might not share, that's okay. That's not the bug up my butt. Here's what it is. Let's take Marvel, for example. Marvel publishes 50 titles-ish. More, less, at any given time. They publish a lot of different books. And the way stories are published today, they have big events where everything kind of connects, or they have long runs of a bunch of comics that are all kind of associated with each other. You've got several Spider-Man titles. You've got you've got an Iron Man title, a Captain America title, a Thor title, and an Avengers title, and they're all kind of in the same camp, right? You got several X books that are happening at once, but they're bigger stories and they're interconnected. Now, up until now, I should say this, I no longer collect monthly comics. I think it's a waste of investment. I do buy first issues of new series from smaller print companies. So, Boom or Dynamite. I don't think Dynamite exists anymore, man. But Boom or Comics or the smaller publisher, IDW. If a brand new first issue, and I try to get the second issue too. If a first issue of a new series comes out, I gobble it up. I grab it. I got a whole box of just first and second issues. Okay. Because almost everything small press gets made into a Netflix show or an Amazon show or something. And I want the first issue. I'll CGC grade that crap and I'll turn around and sell it for a couple $100 and make a profit. I'm doing it for money. I really am. I don't necessarily even care about the series. But if I like it, I will read them. And if I like them, then I will buy instead of buying the issues, I buy the first trade paperback. Okay? So there was a comic that came out recently, Radiant Black. It's a new superhero comic. Okay? And I read the first issue. I was like, "Ooh, this is really good." Save that first issue. So then I waited and I bought the first trade. I read the whole first. I was like, "Well, this is great." So I'll buy the second trade when it comes out. I won't buy the monthly comics. But also, that's small press. If we're talking about Marvel as an example, or DC, if we're talking about the big companies. If I want to read X-Men, how many books do I have to buy? I have to buy a lot of books, right? I have to buy, besides, so look at recently they had Dawn of X. And I'm buying the trades of Dawn of X now because they're cheap. I buy one, want a paycheck or something, to fill out my library. But they're good, they're fun. But the way they print those trades, you don't buy Dawn of X X-Men and Dawn of X Marauders and Dawn of X X-Force. You buy Dawn of X Volume 1, and it has the first issue of each of the series in it. And you buy Dawn of X Volume 2, and it's got the second issue of most series and maybe the first issue of another series. So it's giving you what you need to read at that volume to know where you are in the story. And that's kind of where I'm headed with this. So I realized, again, coming from a place where I don't think they're really making money off of the individual. Maybe they're making money off of trades. I don't think they're making money off of the individual issues. I think if they make 500,000 copies of an issue or 1 million copies of an issue, they're probably making, pennies on the dollar compared to what Disney's making on the movies. So why do the individual issues anymore? Maybe a more efficient way to sell these is in bundles. Okay? So let's look at an example. Shonen Jump. Great example. I remember, especially growing up, when I was a teenager and so we're buying Shonen Jump, you had basically it was a big volume every month that you were buying for, $15, $20, whatever it was. And in it, you would get a couple of issues, so chapters, issues, so to speak, of whatever different mangas at the time that Shonen Jump was publishing. You'd have maybe 10 or 15 different comics in one volume, in one issue of Shonen Jump. But it was a bunch of, issue 1 of Dragon Ball, issue 1 of One Piece, issue 1 of Fairy Tail, issue 1 of whatever. And then the next issue of Shonen Jump, at issue 2 of. In very similar to how they're doing Dawn of X in the trades. I think we should start considering, with Marvel, instead of publishing 50 books, we condense it. We can take all of the Avengers books, Iron Man and Cap and Thor and Avengers and Hawkeye and whatever books are associated with the 10 books associated with the Avengers, including the Avengers series, and we can combine it into one big volume. And you sell it for $25. You get one a month, and you get one issue of each thing, right? Wouldn't that be a better way to collect comics anyway? First off, you have a magazine that's basically a trade paperback, right? You can put it on a shelf. It looks better than putting it in a box. But you also get all the stuff that's associated with whatever the core title is. If you're an Avengers fan, you want all the Avengers books. If you're an X-Men fan, you want all the different X books. If you're a Spider-Man fan, you want all the Spider-Man books. DC, same thing. If you get Justice League, then maybe you get associated titles to Justice League. But maybe you also have a maybe you publish that you can buy the Justice League volume that has the Justice League comic in it, but it also has Superman, it also has Batman, it also has Wonder Woman and Green Lantern. But then what if you could also or you could buy the Superman volume that's got Action Comics and the Adventures of Superman and Superboy, and maybe it's got I don't know, whatever the titles are that are associated with Superman, right? Maybe there is crossover. Some of the same issues are in each one. It doesn't have to be. They can figure that out. But I like the idea of collecting the house, right? I don't want to buy a single issue of 5 different comics when I can buy one big, thick trade or graphic novel that's got all those 5 issues in it. It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. It's just instead of having a collectible series, a run of individual issues, you would have these new volumes. Wouldn't it make more sense if you were trying to collect all of that stuff? Now, this isn't a perfect idea, right? Of course, you can't collect a series anymore, right? So what are you gonna get? Guys that have been collecting comics all their lives, now they can't finish their collection. They're gonna have to buy these volumes. B, you might not like everything that's in the book. You might only want to read Justice League. You don't care about Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman. Someone might only want to buy an individual copy of a comic, right? They might only want to buy I just want to buy Batman. Can I just buy Batman? No, you got to buy Batman that comes along with 8 other books. But from a standpoint from a corporate standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, right? I don't want a customer to just buy Batman. I want them to buy all the titles associated with Batman. I don't want a collector to just buy X-Men. I want them to also buy X-Force and Marauders and Way of X and whatever else is coming in, right? Because I want the investment. I want people to put the money into it. Because that's how you make your money. You don't make money off of one comic, you make money off of 50. Well, now you eliminate the customer that only wants to buy one thing. They're forced to buy multiple things. And you get people interested in stuff they weren't interested in, but they're going to read it anyway. They're going to say, well, I don't care about this. Well, all right, I've got it. I might as well read it. Maybe they enjoy it. And before you know it, when you want to tell those big event books, right, where it crosses over to everything, now you can do event volumes. You give people options that way. I don't know. It's just an idea. It's just a new way to approach it. Maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe you hear this and you go, wow, yeah, I love Shonen Jump, and that's a great way to do it. Or maybe you hear this and you go, that's dumb. I just don't want to buy my individual issues. Or I'll just buy it and trade. Well, okay, yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. How do I know? It's just an idea. And it's something I've been thinking about. It's something I wanted to talk about. What do you think? What do you think? Really? Leave a comment below. Let me know. Be respectful, please. That's all I ask. Don't be mean. Don't be rude. You can disagree with me. That's fine. I don't mind. I'm not going to take it personally. But just be respectful. But what do you think? Wait, what if this was an option? What if they still gave you the individual issue option, but this was just another option? And they said, well, monthly, maybe we will just combine a bunch of books together, 10 or 15 books together, in a big old trade. You could choose to buy that once a month for $30, or you could buy your individual issues and just buy what you want. If it was an option, would that be better? Would you try to take it? Would you want it? Would you maybe consider it for books that you didn't normally buy? If you're a Marvel fan, would that get you into DC? Or vice versa? Interesting stuff, huh? Interesting thoughts for the day. Anyway, listen, thanks for listening to me today. I appreciate it. If you liked what you heard, please like the video. I know us YouTubers say that, but it really does help out. And subscribe to the channel, guys. leave a comment below. Engage with me. Like, talk to me. I want to know what you guys, I really want to know what you think. This is about having a discussion. It's not about being right or wrong. It's not about a point. I just want to hear what you think. Feel free to send me an email instead of a comment below. You can send it to davidcampproductions@gmail.com. Link in the description. And I'll tell you what, I will, over the next week, I'll take any comments or responses I get, and maybe in a week or so, I will put together a response video where I will, or throughout the week, I will put a video up, and I'll read them off, and we'll continue the discussion. We can see what we think. I think this is the best way to do this format. So, anyway, thanks again for coming. I really appreciate it. I love you guys very much. I'm a huge fan of this nerd culture stuff. I know you are too. That's why you're here. So thank you so much. I'll see you next time. And as always, this is Matt Powers saying, Powers out.